Well, welcome to the Pineapple Academy's Basic Bakery course. In this series, we're going to talk about baking, and we're going to start with the basics. Just like we do in culinary, in baking, there's basics you should know about also. So we're going to cover that. What you need to have in your pantry, what type of tools and equipment you need to have. So stay tuned for a great series on baking. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I am a chef instructor. I've been in the food business my entire adult life. And I also own a sustainable farm in Western Massachusetts where we grow fruits and produce and things like that.
First thing we want to talk about in this lesson is your pantry. And so we have some ingredients that are laid out here, and Lauren's going to take us through these items and talk about what they are and what you should have in your pantry and how you can utilize them in other recipes in other parts of your operation. So we're going to start with talking about flour.
I think we're all most familiar with all-purpose flour, and that's what we call it in the kitchen. So that's like your typical white flour. We have some here. We're also going to be using throughout this course a lot of variable flours. These actually increase your flavor in addition to your nutritional content. So something that we're going to be using as well, mixing in with the regular white flour, is a nut flour. We have almond, but you can also find a lot of different varieties these days. And we're also going to be doing some recipes with a gluten-free 1-to-1 mix. And these have come a long way recently. And you can find these through a lot of reputable actual flour brands. And you just use them exactly as you would a regular white flour in the recipe, and they come out fabulous. And again, those are a little bit more nutritionally dense. And also they take away the allergen issue that comes up very frequently these days. Adding fruit in is really, really easy, especially with cakes, and you'll see that a little bit later. Fresh fruits are really great, and a lot of us always have bananas and apples anyways for fruit just out for people to snack on. Additional options are frozen berries are wonderful, wonderful, wonderful products, and a lot of frozen fruit can be subbed out for any fresh fruit. It's very easy. You would use them from frozen. If you don't have that, you also can use canned fruit like for pie filling. So those are wonderful. They're a little less nutritionally dense, but it is a great option that is shelf stable and can be subbed out for a fresh fruit option anytime. When you're baking with things, you wouldn't want to use a heavy syrup item because there's so much more sugar in that. It's really going to throw off your recipe. You're going to make your cake or whatever you're making a little too sweet. The light syrup works really well, but you would want to drain off the syrup. The water-packed fruits are a little bit more challenging to cook with, and I would say that you wouldn't want to use those in a baking dish, just simply because of that water content. It's going to throw off your recipe too much. It's going to be hard for you to get the right consistency. So if you want to use blueberry pie filling or apple pie filling, that already has what it needs to work in the recipe already in the can, and so it's going to be easy for you to use. We have our traditional white sugar up front. It is a necessity. It does make things really easy to be successful when you're baking. We use brown sugar a lot in our cookie recipes. That adds that chewiness that we all love. We're also going to use it in the muffin crumble top, which again, we all love to have that. Brown sugar is really just white sugar mixed with molasses, and it does have a nice little texture to add. However, we also have honey here. Honey, maple syrup, and agave are really wonderful options, especially when you're baking and doing simple things with fruit, or you just want to add a drizzle to a cake. So instead of icing it fully, you want to do something that's a little healthier, maybe something more for a coffee hour or a breakfast. You can actually use them as a direct substitute. Cost usually comes into play more with those because they're natural products from a plant. They're more like fruit than they are. The sugar cane is a more mass-produced product, so it's a little bit more cost-effective. However, they are healthier. Bodies process them a little bit better, which for different clientele can be very helpful.